FishEZ on Friday. Yes, it's Friday night and an opportunity for us to get together just one more time. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm a little late than I usually have it. I usually start at 8 o'clock, but this particular night there was something going on in the family and I had to drag myself down to the fish room as soon as I could. So welcome everyone, and Roman, good to see you. Go with the Flow Aquatics is here. Richard Reynolds, Craig's Catfish Cave too. Thanks. So everybody's joined us who's connected for now, and looks like more and more people will be joining us. I have an unboxing to do and I'm really excited. I'm super excited about this. Actually, I got the product some days ago and I've been holding it for this moment so I can share it with everybody. Hello, Robert Lucas, and I know it's kind of, I just saw you on Monday, and we're so glad to have you with us. So glad you made it down to our neck of the woods, and I hope the fish are doing well. Red Laser, Chris Stubbs, Sandy Diamond, hello everyone. So tonight we can't dilly-dally because I've got a lot to show you, and we are going to try to end at 9:30, so we've only got 45 minutes or so. I would like to share with you some really great things. Right now the fish room is full. I mean, it is just got so many things happening, and there's babies and eggs everywhere, and so this is one of those moments where you're just pulling your hair out. Well, maybe that's why I don't have any more, but it comes to the point where you just start missing things, and you got to be very careful. And so when you go into the fish room, you're like feeding everything, and then after you leave you realize, oh, I forgot another fish. So let me show you some of the things that are going on right now as everybody's joining us. I've got some something that happened earlier this week, and this is it. Down here, as you know, last week we pulled a huge spawn. I didn't even know there was a spawn here with this albino long-finned ancestris. And this particular fish had a batch of fry that I never detected, and I kept looking and I couldn't see anything. And then on Monday, I think it was, suddenly there was a ton of fish that I see. In fact, oh, there's one right there on the wall. So there it is on the back wall. I think the focus is on the front algae. We'll have to do something about that. Clean that off for the next one. You see that small ancestris back there. Fortunately, there's nothing in this tank that will eat them. But he had a ton of fry in there, and I pulled out a ton by putting them into a breeder box, and I put him back in. Within 24 hours, he was trapping again. And the next day, yesterday morning, or I think it was yesterday morning, I noticed that we had a raft sitting outside the cave right over here. And the plecos were munching on it, trying to get at the eggs. The eggs are really tough, and they don't naturally get to them too quickly. But I'll show you the raft. So this is the raft. I quickly put it into one of these contraptions. I have two of these handy. I'm going to show you one. They're so nice because when this thing happens, this is what you can do. You just set this into an aquarium, you put the eggs inside, and then you adjust the flow of the air. So here's the air at the top going away. It's spewing out the water, forcing water through the filter media, and it goes down into a cone through that tube, and it's pushing out the bottom. So as you see, what's happening is those eggs are actually suspended. So that's what they're doing. They're kind of suspended in the water, and there's a flow of water going over them. So water's being sucked in to get down to the bottom and then up the sides and out of the device by this riser here. So you can see it's really working nice, and you'll see that the raft just kind of hangs around. It's kind of just circulating, and they're very stuck together. But really what's nice about it is, looks like they're about to hatch, in fact. from what I can see, they look like they're about to hatch. Too bad they haven't hatched. Maybe they just hatched tonight. So I pulled out this raft and I looked inside to see if there was anything in there, and there was nothing in there. So what I saw the next day, 24 hours again, he's got a huge batch of eggs inside, and that explains why the raft was on the outside. I'm now convinced that he spawned with one female, and then another female went in there, pushed out the eggs that were in there, and then laid herself. So that's probably what happened. There was probably a fight between two females. So I'm going to have to go through my females. It looks like I have one female I don't really want in there. This is one. This is a short fin. She shouldn't be in there. I think she must have been in there because she was already in there when I put the others in. But see in the back wall, you see there's a long fin female back there. I gotta get rid of this algae. Yes, welcome fish fam. We're looking at the ancestral longfin, and you see the male fanning the eggs. There is a huge spawn in there, and I was able to salvage some eggs that were kicked out of this cave, and we put them in this device. So this is a Ziss, I forget what they call it, whether it's a tumbler. And so here's one. I'm going to show you one that I'm not using at the moment. This is a Ziss tumbler, and it's kind of neat because you can fill it with water. In other words, you just put it in the tank, put the eggs inside, and then you put this cap on. Now this cap has a seal, and so this device goes inside. So this is just like a cup of water with notice on the bottom it has these beautiful stand, so you just stand it up and it can sit vertical. And what I like about that is it won't, if it didn't have those, it would be like, falling all over, gotta hold it up, and very inconvenient. But that's kind of nice. It has a stand built in, and then you'll see that the water lift is right here, so it's going through this screen, up through this airlift, and then that's how water gets pulled up through that. Now the water, of course, gets pulled out of the box. It has to go in. So that's what it's doing. It's going in the top right here. Water goes in this direction, and it prevents any detritus and other things by the fact that this got this spongy. This is a material just like a sponge filter, and it sits in perfectly shaped for the top of this. And then this just goes inside, and you adjust the air, and it has a seal so that it can't be short-circuited. See, it has, this is removable. It's just if you just want to set it in there, you can do that. It's got a clip. It's also got suction cups, and you can see that you got to put the suction cups on, but they'll hold it there like that, so keep it from falling down. But it's not rigidly snapping into place for some reason. I thought it did, but maybe not. Yeah, I think it does normally. I just didn't have it in there right. So okay, so that's the Ziss tumbler. It has a control for the amount of flow. You adjust the amount of flow so that the eggs are just slowly moving. They're not sitting in one place, but at the same time they're not bouncing off the walls. So that's the perfect, just gently being in the flow. So that's how to work those. As soon as they hatch, that's when I got to take them out. Don't leave them in there. The device is not designed to grow your plecos, and just for the pleco eggs, it's just basically for them to hatch, and then I'll put them in a breeder box. As soon as they hatch, I'll just pull this out like a cup of water, take off the top, and pour them into a breeder box. So that's exciting about that. We also had another spawn of the rainbow shiners. I'm going to talk about the rosies in a minute. Here, the rainbow shiners. So I'm using down here the Blake's trap. This is the Blake's trap, and I took out all the rocks, and left just a small pile of rocks. And now I am sucking up little fry. Right now, I don't know if they're free swimming yet. Let me see if I can catch some, but I don't see any free swimmers. Well, they're on the bottom. Look at the bottom, sitting there. On the bottom. See right there's one. See that? There's one there. There's one right here, into my finger. That's one. There's I counted a good half dozen or more. So we'll give them a couple days to get off the ground. I'll start feeding them in here. I don't put those in a breeder box apart from this low tank because it's the coolest spot in the fish room, and if it gets too warm, it's not good for the minnows. These are minnows, and they've got to have some cooler waters. So that's good news there. Of course, I pulled out a bunch more. I had a disaster too. You see there's a couple, there's a little baby ancestors in this tank. These are all super reds. I had to pull out all this stuff and siphon out as many super red babies as I could. I didn't get them all. There's a few that I just couldn't get, but I still pulled out 80 or more. And they're in between. I see one in between there, right in between there at my finger. They're just impossible. That's why you got to catch them before they get out of the out of the caves. It's easier to pull the cave, you know. Excuse me. All right. Next thing on the agenda, wanted to show you the progress. I did put this in with the rosies. These are the rosies that we bred. As you can see here, they're making fine progress. They're on baby brine shrimp now. Got a tank of quite a few rosy barbs, long-finned rosy barbs. And over here, there's also a bunch. These ones are hanging out near the surface. You see them back there? Big cloud of them, actually. See that? Those are long-finned rosies. Yeah. And they're looking good. They're going to be growing really fast at this stage. I have not done any water changes, and I have started to feed baby brine shrimp, and it won't be long before I'm going to be starting water changes. So, especially when I start really pouring food in there. This is tanks 1, 2, and 3 all have long-finned rosy barbs. So when they're combined into one group for grow out, you'll see that looks like we're going to have a couple hundred. My guess. If there's, well, maybe at least over 100 for sure, because if I pull out 50 from each tank, that's 150. But they're in there. They're swimming around. And I'm just using this tank also for the hatching. They'll hatch in 3 days or so, and as soon as they hatch, I'll pull them out. But I've got these long-finned ancestors from the very first batch, and they're ready to go out of here into a tank. You'll see that you can tell now which ones are long fins and which ones are normal fins. The normal fins are going to be used for cleaning tanks, so that's what we'll do. We'll put them in actual tanks that need to be cleaned, and because they're not the most valuable plecos, because they're very common. There's so many of them. You don't get much money for those, but they are extremely useful for cleaning all your brown algae. Let me give you an example. I have a tank that was full of algae up here, and I put 2 little ancestors plecos up there, and within 24 hours, the walls of this tank are spotless. To give you an idea, the walls of this tank, even the floor now is spotless. They chewed up everything and ground it up into something I can just siphon out. Here's another tank that still has the algae on the bottom. That's what it looked like before. All the walls were like that. But over here, and putting those 2 little guys in here, it just, wow. did a big number on them. And so here's our hockey stick tetras. They're doing very well. We will be moving things around now. Yours ignore the algae. If it depends on the algae, of course. If you have the tough, what is the green spot algae that I have in some places, we were just looking at it on the glass down there. You saw that. They obviously don't touch it because nothing can get this green algae off the glass. It's just too tough. In fact, I try to get it off with a razor blade. It's about all I can do. This green spot algae, I don't like the stuff. But green algae, brown algae, and some algae, hair algae, no. But these guys are excellent for certain kinds of algae. Hair algae, no, not so. So that's the long and short of it. They're good in some cases, but not all algae, so don't think that they're a wonder fish. By the way, at our meeting this week, I picked up this beautiful water lettuce, thank you, right here in my indoor pond. This is from Roman, I think it was. Thank you, Roman. You're on here tonight. There's your beautiful plant right underneath in my pond. Indoor pond, I call it. All the daphne growing away, but look at those roots. Just tremendous. He called it dwarf water lettuce, but man, it looks pretty big. For me, I don't know. But I did notice a few baby snails on it, so I opted to put it in my pond rather than in a tank. Yeah, okay, so one of the subjects I wanted to cover tonight was to answer the question. So we had a question come in, and it was about the RO water system. So what I'm going to do is, Russian redline of Daphnia. Well, Daphnia magna. That's Daphnia magna. I think that it also is known as the Russian redline. They're really good size Daphnia, and I can keep them going inside over the winter, and we also grow it fast in the ponds outside and all summer long. So that is a tremendous food source, live food source. It's really great stuff. I am going to be offering them also on the live foods options. So those of you who are buying the live foods off the website, you know, you've got a small selection, but I'm expanding that selection too. I just haven't figured out exactly the best way to send the Daphnia. So the Paramecia is a big hit, and I get constantly I'm getting people from all over the world asking for that, and I send out kits. It's a really good thing. Oh, really? I'm going to give that a try, CoralWorks. Put them under a microscope. I have a microscope and also magnifying glass, so we'll try that out. See if we can see. Now, the question is RO water, so I'm going to show you where I have my RO water. And unfortunately, it's a very crowded fish room, but behind this tank, sitting on the shelf, is the RO water. So let's go take a look real up close. I use a system that is only using the 3-stage. You've got the sediment and the carbon filter, and then it goes through the membrane. So I use that particular system. It's the Buddy, RO Buddy, and I only pay about $100 for the system, and I've been using it for some time. Now what I do is I've also got it set up so that if I turn the red knob here, if I turn the red knob, it starts pushing water through the RO system, but it dumps it into this barrel. This is a blue barrel, but I also put a special device so that it stops when the barrel's full. So you can see there that float will stop. Well, there is a cord across it. I better make sure the cord's not messing with it. And the idea is that the float will keep it. So I have a barrel of RO water here for when I need it. There's also a pump inside, and the pump, I just grab this this thing whenever I want RO water. And that's it. And I have it turned off, but I can turn it on and pump it out with the pump. Here's the switch right there. So I want to get some out right now. And we're going to test. So the question is, how often do you need to change the filters? I think it's a matter of how much water you're actually producing. So in other words, if you produced this system is for 100 gallons a day. I don't use 100 gallons a day. I may not use 100 gallons in a month, but it's there, and I can reach everywhere with this particular hose. So any tank, if I want to put RO water in it, I can. I want to just test it right now. We're going to go ahead and turn it on, click the pump. Now I'm flowing out RO water. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it off. And I like to drain the hose when I'm done. Just to get it past the valve so there's no water in the hose. Turn off the valve. There's the valve I use. This is for, I think this is 1/2 inch tubing. And now we have some RO water. Question. RO membrane will take out the particles inside, so all your molecules, it strips the water down, but as the membrane ages, it's not able to do a good job like before. So that's why when I see the TDS or total dissolved solids begin to rise, that tells me that the RO membrane needs to be replaced. Currently, the other cartridges, I think it's every 6 months or so. Well, in my case, I hardly use it, so maybe I can stretch it out a little longer, but the instructions are always given to you with that. I'm going to get my meter. I have with me a meter, and this meter is Milwaukee 802, MW802, pH and TDS. So I'm going to actually stick it in this RO water that was in the barrel. I don't know what the answer, what it's going to show, because I didn't practice this or test it out beforehand. Click it on. Okay, so my pH here, regardless of, it's just in the barrel, there's nothing decaying, there's no acidity, acid reasons for it to be any different than normal tap water. So my tap water is basically pH of 7.7, 7.4, anywhere between there right now. That seems to be what it fluctuates at. But looking at it now, this one 6.9, gone down to 6.9. Just give it a minute or two, 6.8, and starts to drop. This is very fast meter compared to other meters. Those little pen ones took forever. I mean, I would test it in the water and it would blow my mind. 6.7, so it is dropping. So that water is pretty good. 6.7 is ideal for breeding, and that's why I would use it. Now the question is the PPM. So what is the PPM on this? And so I click on the PPM, and it says 0. 0. Oh man, it says 0. That's pretty good. That's really strict. So what you can do is you can mix your water. If you're using straight RO water, put 10% of tap water and then 90% RO water. It will drop it so that it's very low. You don't want it 0 because, well, it depends on what you're trying to do, but in most cases you don't want the PPM to be 0. Let's test it with this meter with our tap water. So I'll get another container just to see what the TDS is there. Fill that with tap water. Okay, ran out of tap. So I got a bottle of tap water. Let's put it in the tap water. Okay, immediately 210. That's 220. That's pretty good, 220. So my RO water is doing very well. So I'm getting, it says 0. I find that hard to believe. I've never had 0 before. It was always like at least 5 ppm. But right now, it isn't that old actually, so I shouldn't be too surprised that it's working so well. But 220. So out of the tap it's 220, but by the time it runs through there, I have it available to me, and I can run that to create soft water, and that is good for tetras and other soft water fish. Okay. That is the answer to your question. I hope it was. Tonight I wanted to feature that just to talk about it. I don't really have a problem with any of the different kinds of, there's all kinds of different filters, and this is the thing. If you kind of want to make sure you put one of the filters being the filter cartridge, the what they call, I said it a moment ago, it's just the straight particle filter. What is it called? I'm having it's on the tip of my tongue. Sediment. There we go. The word sediment. And CoralWorks comes through. Thank you. You're the first. Thank you. And the sediment filter, you must have that because any little particles, and you saw it was 220 in the tap, and so those things that are in the water, you don't want to hit the membrane. So the particle filter or the sediment filter is going to take those particles out and preserve your micro filter. So Jeff, thank you for joining us. I saw you earlier. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Everybody's here. Now, we only have another 15 minutes. It's just a short live stream tonight. I showed you the exciting new things, and of course I've got angels and angels and angels everywhere. I've shown those so many times. I don't need to show you more baby stuff. But I do have something. And before I go on, I wanted to read to you something I got out of a book. This is an old book. In fact, I don't even have the book. I have just a photocopy. And in this book, this photocopy, it explains the difference between the carbonate hardness, or general or permanent hardness, and the carbonate hardness, which is temporary hardness, okay? So it really explains it well. The general or permanent hardness of the water is due to the total concentration of calcium, C++, and magnesium, magnesium++ ions. So they are cations that are actually producing general hardness. And that's what you're measuring when if you've ever heard of somebody talk about ppm, and you wonder, that's how we use it around in this part of the world, but in Germany, Europe, and other places, they talk about the degree of hardness. And I learned something interesting. What is the difference between them? Well, 1 degree of degree hardness, or 1 degree, represents 10 milligrams of calcium oxide or magnesium oxide dissolved in 1 liter of water. So in 1 liter of water, you have 10 milligrams of these items. What that will do to you is that's at 1 degree. But it also says it's equivalent to 1 milligram of calcium carbonate dissolved in 1 liter of water to be expressed in parts per million. So the water hardness, if you're saying parts per million, is actually 10 times. So if you caught that, it's 10 milligrams in a liter versus 1 milligram in a liter. So there's a 10 factor of 10. So then they have this little chart, and they say water is graded according to degrees hardness, according to the following. Up to 3 degrees hardness, or 30 ppm, see, 30, it's considered soft. And the 0 we read, super soft. I mean, it's like, you don't get softer than that. 3 to 6 degrees of hardness, which is 30 to 60 ppm, roughly. I mean, this isn't a scientific fact. scientific in the sense that it's an exact figure, but it's a very good approximation between the degree of hardness and the parts per million. 3 to 6 is medium soft. 6 to 10 degrees of hardness, or 60 to 100 ppm, is considered slightly hard, and then 10 to 16, or 100 parts per million to 160, is considered medium hard. 16 to 26, hard, or 160 to 260. If you're over 260, you are very hard. Now, we measured our tap water. We were at 220. So you can consider I have hard water. Almost very hard water. I'm just right at the borderline between hard and very hard. So that is what I wanted to share with you. I thought it was very interesting. The book also explains some very interesting things regarding the carbonate or temporary hardness. It's a little different in what it contains and what it means. It is the temporary hardness of water is due to the hydrogen carbonate ions in the water. And that's the temporary hardness that can, be removed. And what happens is that's what causes the fluctuation of pH. So without the carbonate hardness, your pH it can crash very easy. So that's why a little buffer of some carbonate hardness or temporary hardness is necessary to keep your water stable. This is what I learned from this 2 pages in this book. It's a tremendous amount of great information. I might make that available somehow if I can figure out actually the name of the book. The reason I say that is because it's a photocopy I was given. It was actually the photocopy that, so I'm sure the book doesn't exist right now in hard copy unless you find a used one, but it doesn't have a picture of the title page or the title of the cover of the book. It just starts with the contents. So I'll show you the contents here. Looks like this. Contents. Isn't much, there's no information here. Okay, so I'll move on because we have just enough time to open these boxes, and I have some exciting news for you. This is something that I think is in very high demand. It's when the fella put it up for sale on the Etsy website, it went within hours, it was totally sold out. And what am I talking about? I am talking about these beautiful boxes. So I got 2 sizes. There are 2 boxes here, and we're going to see that this is going to be helping us in our breeding. They are, if you're familiar with Dean in the Seattle area, Dean's Fish Room, you know that he has put together a system, a fry system that is really tremendous, and it's everybody's wants to get it. So this is not Dean's system. This is the improved Dean system, improved by Lowell's Lab. So Lowell's Lab, if you go to Lowell's Lab, you're going to see his system, and he boxed this very nicely. Special box, a certain size, because I'm expecting when I open it up, I don't know what I'm going to find, but you see the boxes came in very good they came in good shape. We'll open one. Basically, the 2 boxes contain the same thing, except for the fact that they're just different sizes. I got the 2 sizes. Let's see what we got. So what it is he taped 2 boxes together. He put, if I ordered 4 of them, he put 2 here and 2 here, I guess, and then he just taped them together and made it 1 box. That's pretty smart. Okay, so we'll see what they look like. This is the how-to fry tray, and it's got the pieces, instructions. Wow, he's got this printed out. These are not cheap, by the way. They're not cheap, and when you buy it in the States and you pay in Canadian dollars, it's even more expensive. And then shipping to Canada was huge cost. factor, and then they charge tax and tariff and all that stuff. So basically, not cheap. But we're going to see what it will do for us. This is the product. Yep, there's two of them. One, and there's another one inside. So that's the four of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be taking advantage of this system. Make sure you're in the camera there. Yeah, you are. So drop this. Let's see what this is all about. Take a good look. I'm really impressed about the care you put into the shipping, making sure everything is got lots of padding. Look at this. Padding and wow. Very nice. This keeps things from going all over the place. And there's the parts right there. Oh, very nice. Okay, so we've got the intake. He even put a, wow, he spared no trouble. So we got the beautiful intake with the sponge, perfect. Airline goes in there. Screws in. And this is the same thing. So you got a spare. I think that's what that is. Two of them. This is 2 pieces. Yeah, three pieces. 3 little pieces of oh, that's extras because there's already one in there. That's for the fry here. So the water goes out on the back. And this thing sits, it has a cap here. There's the cap or bubbler. And that makes the water go in slowly so that it's not creating a huge, wow, very nicely done. Very nicely done. And then this wasn't closed, so something dropped out. But these are the clips, some various clips. One of the clips sits on the corner. I already know what that does. So this holds the airline, and you just need a piece of hard tubing, which I do have. This is hard tubing, like this. This is airline tubing, but it's green in my case, but you can get it clear also. And so this would be like a piece that goes in here, sits on the corner, and actually, I'm not doing it right, but it goes through, and it's going to inject a little bubble across the surface. I can't wait to start using this. This is going to be tremendous. The white nature of this beautiful, it's well sanded after the printing. This very nice. And the fact that it's white will allow you to see the fish very easily, very well. And wow. The next question is now, oh, it is. Look at that. So the extenders, you get it with the extender so it will fit across the tank. There we go. So depending on what tank you have, you can fit this thing across the width of the tank. This is 2 sizes. I got one that will fit 4 of them across a 20-gallon. So 4 of them across a 20-gallon, sitting side by side, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And also, yeah, and then they also, oh, wait a minute, he's got a piece of hard tubing in there. He's giving you everything. What a kit, what a marvelous thing. And the answer to the question is, yeah, it's expensive, but you know what? If this does its job, it will pay for itself because, of course, you know, if you have fry that are going to survive, you'll be able to get them past the very young age. This is going to do it. So basically, it's like a breeder box, but better. I mean, it's a breeder box in a sense. That's what I would normally use, right, for this brand new fry. But I've lost a lot of fry when they've gone to the overflow or the weir and get sucked out. So sometimes, like just to give you an example, take a look over here. Let's take a look at the breeder boxes I have going right now. So for example, this breeder box, I'm not even using it the way it should be. This goes over. The water comes in. This is just I just got an air stone because inside here are some Danios, some baby Danios, or actually CPDs. I have 2 or 3 of them in this thing. I took out of our other contraption or our egg trap. There they are. I see them now. Right there, moving about, right where my finger is. See? There's a couple of them in here, and I didn't want. Now I think I can actually start cleaning this out, but I'll remove them and siphon them out, put them in a jar because there's only 2 or 3 fish, and I can use that over here. Like this jar here, these angelfish from JB3 tank. This is actually, they're just not quite off the bottom, not free swimming, but it's a great way to get them started. And then they'll go into a box like this, and you can see here there's some CPDs in here too. See them all here. And then of course the angels. Yeah, these are angels from JB2. These are going to be black marble with some of them being platinums. Anyway, that's a long-winded answer to, okay, here's some smaller ones, for example. In here, the angels are so small that, you know, I get a little nervous. They have to be strong enough to be able to withstand the pressure going through there. But with this system, this is going to be a little different because you're bringing the water in through this device and the water just gently comes in and it's not pushing them anywhere. And so with the bigger amount of surface area, the fish will be up here. There's really no reason for them to get sucked in. It's not likely to be the case. So these are the fry systems. We've got, I got 2 sizes. I've got a size that will fit 2 of them on top of a 10-gallon, and the size that will fit 4 of them across a 20-gallon long, 20 long. Well, I'm impressed. I'm very happy about that. Excellent product. Of course, that's not really a review yet because we have to get it up and running. We have to get it going, and we have to see that it works. So, thank you very much. Yes, I got a friend who prints. Yeah, you can get the plans to print your own. I think so. Lowell's Fish Lab also allows you to buy into a membership and get the electronic version. If you have a printer and you can do it yourself, that would be the way to go. I even bought a printer to do that, and this was an option to speed up the process because I sadly just don't have a place to put the printer yet, and I haven't even taken it out of the box. I will one day, but it's really sad that I can't find a location, and I don't want to put it where there's going to be a lot of dust. I don't want to put it where there's going to be a lot of dog hair, for example, or maybe a place where it's going to be problematic. It's got to be in a place where it's a nice clean environment, and it also takes a long time. One of those boxes that you just looked at actually take about how many hours? 10 hours to print. It takes a long time. So that's it for tonight, and I really appreciate everybody joining. I think everybody hit the thumbs up. I think basically, I hope, no, it looks like there's a lot of thumbs up that weren't hit. I don't know if somebody missed hitting the thumbs up. I guess maybe I was a little too boring tonight. Is that why I didn't get a thumbs up? But anyway, if maybe you hit the thumbs down. Well, that's good too if you hit the thumbs down because that's interaction as well. So not a problem with me. If you want to hit thumbs down, go right ahead. But thumbs up is always appreciated. And yeah, so the boxes, Patreon only thing. Well, what it is what I did was as instructed by Lowell's Lab, you go there, you join, you pay the membership, and then you get the plans, and then he asked me to unjoin before you have to pay again. So that way you're paying once for the item. That was his way of doing it at the time. I don't know if he's got a better way of doing it. He's just developing his system better and better. You know, the Etsy, and at first there was no shipping to Canada, and this was the first test case to see if it would ship right to Canada, and I promised to give him feedback, and really it was no problem. It was just expensive. You know, it was just money. So I don't know if it's actually worth it, but when you consider all the costs of getting it to Canada and all the extra rigmarole, paying the post office for the tax or the taxes and etc. But in my case, I saw the value in what it would do for me as a fish breeder, and so I'm very anxious to give it a try now. So it's not the big thing. So thank you very much, everyone, and sorry you got a little late start and to cut you all short, but the whole point was to make sure I was able to get out there and show you the new things that arrived in the fish room, and to show you some of these interesting contraptions we use. This is one of them, and it was very handy to have, and I really appreciate having it handy. And I got that from TM Aquatics. I saw him use it. I said, I gotta have that. I see how he was using it, and I realized how good it was. So sure enough, I went and got 2 of them, so now I use them. All right, LRB's on, right? Oh, it's already started. So thank you so much. When you join this, I just arrived from FishEZ, and sorry that you may have missed the beginning. I don't know, but we'll go over there and say hello. All right. Thank you so much for being members, those of you who are members and those of you who are participants. I really appreciate it. If you have a comment, please leave it down below. I'll answer it later, and later maybe in a future video I'll answer it for everyone. So appreciate all the comments. Have a good night and a great weekend. Take care and keep it real.